Hi, I'm Bishop.Dr. Tonya Sumner Brown. I'm the owner of A Love Counseling Center, and we are doing technically a substance abuse class right now. And I'm here with some of the clients, and I've heard some things that I thought that you should want to hear. So we're gonna have a couple of. Are you gonna say something?
I can.
Okay, so we're gonna have a couple of the people in the substance abuse group talk about their addiction. Okay, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jenna, and I'm here for substance abuse, drugs, and alcohol. And yeah.
Okay.
My name is Steven. I'm also here for substance abuse and a couple other things, anger management, and anything that I can better myself in. This would be the place to definitely come and ask for help.
So, Jenna, you were talking about how drugs has affected you, and that everybody that you know knows that you were using. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, briefly. What I was mentioning in the group a little bit earlier is that I was a daily weed smoker for about 15 years. From the time I woke up, from the time I went to bed, I was smoking. So everybody, this isn't news to my friends. And I haven't been smoking for a couple years, about 2 to 3 years. And I never really believed like about the long-term effects. And what I realized, and what I was mentioning earlier, is you can take the weed out of this girl, but you can't take the stonerness out. Like, I still forget. Sometimes I even think I forget even more stuff. And it's like I still feel like I'm stoned, and like people that just meet me, like, are you? They kind of like question me, like, oh, I'm like, no, it's an old habit. but the results are still here. So yeah.
And that's what we're talking about, how marijuana affects you, your memory, relationship problems, poor mental and physical health, lower salaries, less career success. And people don't understand that. Sleep problems, memory problems. And that's how we started talking about that with Jenna, because Jenna was saying, even though I haven't smoked marijuana in years, I still have the effects or the residual effects of the marijuana. Did you use any other drugs?
I did. Alcoholic, been drinking for many years, struggled with that, as well as cocaine and ecstasy. But I would say pretty much weed and alcohol were my favorites.
Okay. Tell us about your situation.
I started smoking very young due to problems in life, which wasn't a reason to turn to drugs, but at the moment I found that it was my only alternative. I came to find out that no matter how far you run, your problems are still going to be with you, and finding something temporary is not the fix. You want to fix your problem forever, not just temporary. You know, temporary is 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you forget about it, but what do you get out of that? You know, you're not solving anything. You're just prolonging the situation, making it worse, looking for other drugs now, for different highs and things like that.
So replacement drugs.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And we have co-occurring, because now we have people who have been using drugs for a long time, and we're diagnosing them with PTSD and schizophrenia and bipolar, and people don't understand that there is a long-term effect, because it changes how your brain works. If we're just talking about marijuana, it impacts your learning capability, your appetite, your coordination, your pleasure, how you seek pleasure and how you receive pleasure. It has significant effects on your body, and that's what I tell a lot of my clients when they come in and they want to convince me that marijuana is the way to go. They're making it legal, they're doing all of that, but what they're not telling you is about the long-term risk of marijuana, where you're having problems, chronic cough, chronic illness, real serious memory loss, and all the things that they're not telling you that are long time. It's been linked to impotency. So if you want to have some children, you might want to rethink smoking weed all the time. Because also it used to not be considered an addictive drug, which now it has. And now policemen, in addition to checking for DUIs, are also checking for narcotics, driving while under the effects of narcotics. And they found out that there's almost as many accidents for people who are high on drugs as there are people who are drunk driving. Yeah. Exactly. And so it affects your coordination, especially your hand-eye coordination and movement, where you move a whole lot slower. If someone walked in front of you, your brain would have to really get in that space to say, oh, that's a person, ski, versus I'm not drinking, I saw that person from over here before they got in the street. Yeah. So it affects a whole lot of things when it comes to you. Is it okay if we talk about, because you said you wanted to say something. So, tell us about your drinking. I thought your story was very interesting.
Yeah, I was drinking too much all day. And I sleep the night, and then I wake up 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. I still wanna drink, and I gotta go to store, and I gotta buy and start drink again. Sometimes I gotta go work 3 o'clock. Before that, I have like 2-3 beer, and I go work.
Okay, so you're drinking all the time.
Yeah.
But you had a miracle story, so tell me about how you stopped drinking.
I have, before I stopped drink when I get pregnant. So after that I start drink after I have my baby, but not too much. And I have brain surgery. So when I do the brain surgery, the doctor, he told me it's too bad for me if I drink.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that's why, I don't want to die. So that's why I stop.
It's a good
Yeah.
reason.
That's a really good reason.
Maybe you
But
want
we-
to stop.
But we
I
also
feel
know.
like I still have like couple of beer, and not every day, like weekend.
More
sometimes
control.
like that. Yeah.
Mhm. And that's some
I
of what
want to be
we.
healthy.
Yeah, that's some of
Sometimes like I have like walking problem.
coordination. We talked about that. Yeah.
In the next day, oh my God, I am confused all
Yeah.
the time.
Memory
People
loss.
talk to me, I don't know what they say.
Confusion.
I say like, what you say?
I think it's also important to not be selfish sometimes and think about the people around us. A lot of times
Yeah.
we're more concentrated on us, but we're hurting the people around us more than we're hurting ourselves. So
Yeah.
you should always take a second and reflect, who else am I hurting because of my addiction or because of my drinking problem, our kids, family
people see
members,
it.
friends, anybody, anybody that's close to you, it could affect them mentally, not physically unless you hurt them while you're under the influence, but I think mentally is more damaged than physically in any way.
And it isn't always say that, whether it's family violence, whether it's drugs or whatever. And that's one of the things that I think is critical, because so many people who use drugs and alcohol, they hurt their family members.
Exactly.
They steal from their family members. They yell and scream and holler at
Fighting.
them, disrespect, fighting. So it affects you mentally and how you affect other people, what you're affecting.
It affected
other
their
people.
lifestyle. Now,
Everything about it.
When you feel better, and then you feel sorry, right?
exactly.
Yeah, and we talked about that shame.
Yeah, you feel
Yeah.
sorry after, but when
Shit.
you're active, when you're high, when you're in or drunk, you're in your addiction. Like
You
you
don't
don't think
care.
about
You're not
anybody,
yourself.
and it,
You
yeah,
don't care
You're not
nothing.
yourself.
yeah, and then you wake up.
Next day, you say like, why did you say that? So you're gonna say sorry again for the
Yeah,
person.
again.
And every day you say sorry, every day.
Every
you
day.
say
They're like, okay, yeah, we've heard this
That's not right.
before.
Exactly.
Like, all right.
People don't want to be around you. They don't want you around them. You're explosive.
kids.
They don't know when. Yeah, especially your kids staggering all over the place. So because it's a mind-altering drug, and one of the things we talked about was it contains more than 500 chemicals, including more than 100 compounds that are similar to the THC, and the amount of THC in the marijuana determines the potency, the strength, and how it can affect the body. And so a lot of people don't understand. I mean, I remember it used to just be red bud and something else. And then all of a sudden, like a couple of years
600
ago,
names.
yeah, 600 names of marijuana. Each one does. This one will lull you to sleep, and this one will wake you up, and this one will
This is
make you
teach you how to
hungry to
love.
gain weight, and this one will make you not hungry to lose weight. I mean, there's so many different brands and types. But the thing is the myth, and that's why we talk about 15 facts about marijuana. And this is stuff that they don't tell you. And I love to teach this in this class because it's so many things they don't tell you. They don't tell you about the increased heart rate, the anxiety, the paranoia, the psychosis, the distorted perception of sight, sounds, time, touch. They don't tell you about the memory problems, the learning
That's the fine
disabilities.
That's the fine print right
the
there.
learning, the learning disabilities and the lack of attention. I mean, so when I have people that are 40 or 50 that come to me and they're just going on and on, I'm like, oh, okay, so where do you work? Oh, I don't have a job right now. Then, well, what do you do? I'm at home right now. Yard work.
Exactly.
That's everybody who's hooked on drugs tell me. Well, I do yard work. My uncle has a yard work business, and it's like, okay, so what are you addicted to? So that's a buzzword. So what are you addicted to?
Well, the same government's buying them the drugs because they're getting money from the government. So technically, the government's really paying for them.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
somebody has to buy it. I'm not
They
working.
went and sold their food stamps for some drugs.
Yeah, and I mean, it
A
happens. What
watch.
can you say? Some shoes.
I know, like that
Some hair.
bag.
I like this wig here.
You
Say you this for $5.
Exactly. Now you're
Never
starting
mind, I paid $200 for. I say you this for $5. You know, because let's talk about that. Because now you're desperate. You need to get the drugs.
Exactly.
So when I find people that's 40 and 50 and they still don't have jobs, and I know that you're addicted, unless you have some kind of disability. You know, you're just addicted to something. I'm never wrong. I haven't been wrong yet with that.
Acceptance.
And so what is it? Yeah, and that's the other thing with substance abusers and drinkers. You know, I only had 3, Dr. Brown. You might have had 30, but 3 is that magic number. Everybody's only had 3. You know, and then nobody's addicted. In 27 years of me doing this, 2 people have come in my office and said, Dr. Brown, I need some help. Everybody else is like, oh no, I don't have a problem. You know, well, my friend and I, we were at the bar doing shots. You're not a drinker. I've never done a shot. I can't even imagine it. So let's refigure this whole conversation, because you lied to me. You know, because people that don't drink don't do shots. I mean, technically, do they? I don't think they do.
Probably not.
I think that's something you have to ease your way up to. You know, I started with this little wine cooler, and now I need a whole bottle of rum, you know, to get to that same spot that wine cooler had me at in the past. So just long-term effects, you know, because they don't tell you that. And then these kids come in, they want to argue with me. Well, Dr. Brown, they made it legal in some states. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, so when you're stupid because you can't learn, when you're discoordinated and you kill somebody on the road because your hands and brain couldn't work fast enough to stop the car, or when you can't keep a job, because that's normally, and you can't keep a job because the test on the job, you're going to get a surprise test.
You can't even get it. You can't even get the
job. The job you couldn't get to because you were high. So you weren't even there for the test.
Yeah, you couldn't even make it to the test. You failed
before
it.
you showed up.
That's it. You mentally failed it.
So, you know, you're scared to go to work, so you don't know when that drug test is coming. Or, you know, the drug dealer might be coming by today. He might be in the neighborhood, so I can't go to work. I gotta be here for the
Priorities.
Priorities.
And we're laughing about this, but this is serious,
It's
you know,
true.
especially
Real life things.
And I hate that they made it legal because everybody wants to argue me down that it's okay. But it's not okay. If you are having relationship problems, poor mental and physical health,
See, they're confusing.
low or no salaries, less career success because you're high. Some people are functional, but they come in here and they're fussing and fighting about how much money. She's saying he's spending all the money on weed or on whatever. And so that's not conducive to a good marriage or a good relationship for that matter. So there's a whole lot of things. So
I think they're getting the point of medicinal use and recreational use mixed up.
Recreational.
You know, because the younger generation is looking at it, oh my God, I can smoke out in the street now. But you know, the older people are like, well, we need this for medicinal use. You know, I got maybe cancer patients or whatever that really do need the medicinal purpose of it. But people are using it like a recreational, like, oh, now we can drive around with an ounce in the car and not go to jail.
Yeah,
you know.
I think that's a really good point. Is my mother has MS and a bunch of other diseases where marijuana would actually be helpful for her, so she's not on narcotics, but she is still in that older generation too, that where it's like it's a drug, it's a powerful gateway drug. So she takes her medicine prescribed, but she just won't. She lives in California and it's legal there, recreational and medicinal. She still won't do it just because she's like afraid of it.
Right.
Exactly.
And she understands that addictive power. So.
And I think she's wise because our kids fall into this loop and then they can't get out of it. And then they're skipping school or missing school because they were high and couldn't go.
Looking for the high.
Or looking for the high, needed to leave the class or school. And so we have to really be careful about marijuana because there's so many things that they're not going to tell you. This is not about you. And that's what I tell people. Marijuana is not about you legalization.
It's about money.
It's about the money. They want the taxes. That's all they want is the taxes. So if it's a multi-million, probably billion-dollar industry, then they want the taxes on that. And behind you, there's somebody else. So when you drop dead, because your arteries in your brain shrunk and the blood can't get through, so you stroked out, or whatever happened, you know, you had a car accident and killed yourself, or whatever happened, they could care less if somebody else standing right behind you waiting on that same joint you would have bought. Exactly. So we have to be wise and look out for ourselves because the government is not going to look out for us. They're going to say, okay, look it. when they put on the cigarette, I was a little kid when they put warning, the Surgeon General has determined that cigarette smoking is hazardous to your health. What does that mean?
Don't do it.
The kids don't even understand that. But the kids don't understand that. People don't even understand that. They just kept right on smoking. So then we had to make laws because so many people were dying from cancer, especially lung cancer and different cancers. So many people were dying. Okay, well, you can't smoke in public facilities because I don't want you to kill me. And then I look at the mortality for infant death syndrome for SIDS and sudden infant death syndrome, and these kids are dying. Had anybody stopped to see how much smoke was in the house? The kid may not have just died. It may have suffocated to death on all this doggone smoke. I see people riding around in their cars with all this
windows
smoke.
up.
Oh,
the
I
window
know.
and
Yeah.
smoke just permeates the whole outside.
Hotboxing with a cigarette. That's what I call it.
Right. And it's like, why are you killing your kids? Don't kill your kids because you want to die. And that's just really serious. So body, brain, and behavior is affected with that. But I really liked what you said, and I was like, we need to film this because I'm serious. We need to film this because you can take it. How'd you have it? You
can take the pot out of the girl, but you can't take the stoniness out of the girl because it's in there.
It's affected your brain long term.
It has
short term effects by using or right after using, learning attention, memory problems, distorted perception, sight, sound, time, touch, poor coordination, increased heart rate, anxiety, paranoia, psychosis. Now you're seeing things that's not even there. And then long-term effects, marijuana addiction, long-term learning, and memory problems if heavy use begins during the youth, chronic cough, bronchitis, schizophrenia, and some people with higher genetic risk, in rare cases, risk of severe nausea and vomiting. So this is all the stuff they're not going to tell you.
And you know what? I think for me, I was aware of the short-term effects, and I don't know if I didn't hear or they weren't so public about the long-term. But that's what I'm suffering from, and that's what I'm paying the consequence for. Like I didn't believe it, I guess, but it's like it's real.
Yeah, and it is real, and that's what I want people to understand because I have so many people, and this is what I was telling y'all. So this part I hadn't even read yet. Effects of inhaling secondhand marijuana smoke. It's unlikely you will fail a drug test, but it is possible. It's more likely to give someone a high if they're in an enclosed space with others smoking marijuana with high THC levels. Recent animal studies showed can affect heart and blood vessels. Remember I told y'all my brother stroked out because he smoked so much weed, it shrunk the vessels in his brain and he stroked. So it says studies showed can affect heart and blood vessels as much as secondhand tobacco smoke. So secondhand smoke, people don't understand. We would say secondhand smoke is worse because firsthand usually has a filter. So I'm sucking through a filter, but you're just getting it raw. It's coming at you. Still researching if marijuana smoke can especially affect children and people with asthma. I'm sure it does. How can it not? Really? Because after that, your kid already has asthma, and you add all this extra smoke to their lungs, and you're triggering the asthma. So I think this is a really great discussion. Anything anybody else want to say to our audience?
Just be careful out there. They're putting a lot of weird stuff in drugs nowadays.
That's right.
It's not like it was before. They're growing stuff much faster, chemicals and things that are killing people. So just be careful. I'll stay away from it.
It's bad.
It is.
Be addicted. Me,
You're
I'm
a slave.
controlling myself. When I see people taking shot, and I don't choose what I drink. I drink everything.
I just like drinking.
I choose like white liquor and dark liquor.
You don't care.
I choose.
Yeah.
I don't care. I drink everything. But now, like the longer term I drink, and I have surgery.
Why did you have to have the surgery?
No, I just have like hydrocephalus. Yeah.
So and it can affect that.
Yeah, I still see and I wanna drink, but I'm the one control myself.
Exactly. You got to make the decision.
If I drink, the doctor told me it's bad, and the next day I have bad headache every day. That's why I'm just like, no, not for me.
Yeah, and usually we talked about that. We talked about triggers and we talked about things that happen that are milestones in your life. So you're supposed to take that and make a greater opportunity.
Exactly.
So my wife left me because I was
Not
using all the
excuses.
money on drugs, or I lost my job because I couldn't make it there, or because I was high there. I have people that have come to the classes that are court ordered and they are high, and I'm like, wait, hold up, I should be calling your PO about right now so they can come and test you.
Exactly.
Because some of the POs say just call us, we'll test them, that way you don't have to get in an argument or confrontation with people. But normally I just send people home. I'm like, you might want to try this another day. You know, there's times when I will test, but if it's, you know, it depends on the situation.
Exactly.
But sometimes I might say, you might need to go home and try this another day because you're not going to sit in my class high. And addiction is just something, you
Mind
know.
controlling. It's what it is. It's mind control.
It takes over. It affects everything. Body, spirit, soul, mind. And the whole body has to be treated. So, thank you for all of that. Thank you guys for being a part. I really wanted to hear from you. And hopefully you guys out there are listening. Thank you. Have a blessed day.